Welcome to this explainer. You know, if you're gearing up to travel internationally for the very first time, or maybe it's just been a really long time since you last crossed a border, glancing at the U.S. Department of State's official guidelines can leave you feeling, well, a little overwhelmed, right? I mean, they lay out this massive 12-step government process, which, let's be honest, sounds about as fun as a trip to the dentist. But don't worry, we've got you covered. Today we're going to transform those 12 tedious steps into a foolproof, totally stress-free guide. By the end of this explainer, you're going to know exactly what to do, what to bring, and crucially, what mistakes to avoid so you can secure that passport on the very first try.
So, we're going to break this whole thing down into 3 highly manageable phases. First up, preparing your arsenal, which is the before. Second, the in-person mission, or the during. And finally, the finish line, the after.
All right, let's kick things off with Phase 1, preparing your arsenal.
First things first, we need to make sure you're actually in the right place. While some passport renewals can easily be done online these days, a first-time adult applicant generally cannot do this over the internet. You absolutely have to use a specific form called Form DS-11, and you've got to apply in person if you fit into any of these buckets. You're applying for your very first U.S. passport, your previous passport was issued when you were under 16, maybe your previous passport was issued more than 15 years ago, or it was lost, stolen, or damaged. If any of that sounds like your situation, Form DS-11 is your official starting point.
Now you're going to head over to the official U.S. Department of State website and use their form filler tool to complete your DS-11 online. They highly recommend doing this on a computer, by the way. You'll plug in all the usual details, your full legal name, social security number, current address, your parents' info. Once that's all filled out, you need to print it on single-sided paper. But listen closely because this is the golden rule. Literally, the most important thing I'm going to tell you, absolutely do not sign it yet. I know, fight the muscle memory. You must leave that signature line completely blank until you are explicitly told to sign it at your in-person appointment.
Okay, moving on, we need to gather your supporting evidence. We can basically group your required documents into 4 super easy steps, just to help you mentally pack your bag for the appointment. Step 1, your proof of U.S. citizenship. Step 2, your valid photo ID. Step 3, photocopies of both of those documents. And Step 4, a compliant passport photo. You've got to bring all 4 of these physical items with you, right alongside that unsigned DS-11 form we just talked about.
Now, you really need to pay close attention to the strictness of the formatting here because the government does not mess around with this. For your citizenship proof, like a U.S. birth certificate, a consular report of birth abroad, or certificate of naturalization, they strictly require physical evidence, no digital copies. They will not accept an electronic birth certificate pulled up on your phone. The exact same rule applies to your photo ID, like a driver's license. It has to be the physical card. And your photocopies, they need to be incredibly exact. Printed on standard 8.5 by 11-inch paper, single-sided, clearly showing both the front and back of your ID. Finally, your single passport photo has to meet strict Department of State requirements for size, image quality, lighting, background, facial expression, the whole shebang.
All right, with your paperwork sorted, let's jump into Phase 2, the in-person mission.
Because this is your first passport, you are required to submit your application face-to-face at an authorized passport acceptance facility. But hey, the good news is there are over 7,500 of these facilities spread all across the United States. You can usually find them in post offices, clerks of court, public libraries, and local government offices. You can easily use the Department of State's website to track down a location right near you. But a quick heads up, definitely check ahead of time because a lot of these spots actually require you to book an appointment in advance. So knowing the exact flow when you step up to that counter is absolutely crucial. When it's your turn, you're going to hand over your entire, complete application package. The passport agent is first going to verify your documents and your identity. Then, they will administer a required oath. Yes, an actual oath. Only after you take that oath will the agent finally give you the green light to sign that DS-11 form. After that's done, they'll officially accept your application and collect your required fees.
And just like that, we move on to Phase 3, the finish line.
But wait, before you pay, you have to choose your actual product, the passport book, the passport card, or both. Now, for the vast majority of travelers, the book is really the only way to go. Why? Because it's valid for all international air travel. The card, on the other hand, while it is cheaper and definitely convenient for land or sea border crossings from places like Canada or Mexico, is going to leave you completely stranded if you actually plan to fly internationally.
Let's break down the math on this for adults age 16 and older. The book is going to run you $130, the card is $30, or you can get both for $160.
But here is the major catch. Your application fee goes directly to the State Department, while a totally separate $35 acceptance fee stays right there with the facility you're standing in. Because of this weird bureaucratic quirk, you actually have to prepare two completely separate payments.
Okay, so once you've paid those fees and handed everything over, the clock starts ticking. For routine processing, it currently takes roughly 4 to 6 weeks for the State Department to process your application. However, if you find yourself in a rush and you really need to travel sooner rather than later, you do have the option to expedite. You can pay an additional $60 to shrink that processing window all the way down to just 2 to 3 weeks.
But keep in mind, those processing times only cover the days your application is actively sitting on someone's desk. You really have to factor in up to 4 extra weeks of just pure mailing time. That's 2 weeks for it to get there and another 2 weeks to get back to you. During this whole waiting game, you can easily track your status online. Oh, and one more thing. Please don't panic when you open your mailbox. Your original vital documents, like your birth certificate, are going to be mailed back to you in a completely separate envelope from your brand new passport.
So, let's wrap up our explainer today with your ultimate checklist for success. Remember your home prep. Fill out the DS-11 online, leave it completely unsigned, and gather those incredibly strict physical documents along with your single-sided copies. Then, execute your mission. Take your 2 separate payments to an authorized facility. Take your oath, and finally, when they tell you, sign on the dotted line. After that, literally all that's left is to track it online and wait for the mailman.
Following this structured guide ensures you are going to master this entire 12-step process without a single hitch. So, now that you have the knowledge to confidently secure your key to the world, the only real question left is, where exactly will your new passport take you first? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and safe travels out there.